Kailabreece.
Mr. Pat Robertson, a man known for his honesty, compassion, charity, and prophetic intuition, was quoted saying there is no such thing as separation of church and state in the Constitution. He went on to say it was just a blatant lie from the left wing. Now I find his analysis of this very convenient, being that his Constitution, the Bible, makes no mention of the word abortion, and yet he has taken the liberty to interpret that. So I guess it's all relative. But regardless of one's political and spiritual ideology, separation of church and state was real then, and it should be real now. The separation is a political and legal doctrine that government and religious institutions are to be kept independent from one another, and the reason being that both institutions would corrupt the other. And when it was envisioned, the founders, who were definitely religious, wanted to protect the divinity of faith from oppressive governance. The term most often refers to the combination of two principles: the secularity of government and the freedom of religious exercise. The actual phrase, separation of church and state, is generally traced to the letter written by Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptists, in which he referred to the First Amendment as creating a wall of separation. The phrase since then has been quoted excitedly by both sides. As much as I'd enjoy going over the history of the concept back to ancient times, I'm going to try and focus on soft and hard separation viewpoints. Basically, the soft perspective limits the interference of the church in matters of the state, but also limits the interference of the state in church matters. The hard variety seeks to banish religion to the private realm within the walls of the home and church, and even goes as far as limiting religious education, sacred rites of passage, and public displays of faith. Now, both can be controversial, which will certainly lead to good conversation. Still, this culture war between those who wish to have a political religion and those who wish to have no religion creates two very different perspectives on church and state relationships. So, what about the U.S. First Amendment, the Free Exercise Clause? I apologize to my international friends. I really should speak more to other nations on this topic, being that it is universal, but this issue really hits home for me. Anyway, the Free Exercise Clause, or the Establishment Clause, is pretty straightforward in some ways and incredibly ambiguous in others. It states Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise of. Well, okay. What is an establishment of religion? Well, whatever it is, it was intended to prevent the politicalization of religion. Well, what is political religion? Well, I can tell you what I think it leads to: controlled education, security through purity, intolerance of other ideologies, desire to convert others, willingness to place ends over means, absolute loyalty, power structure founded on fear, and leaders of near godlike status. Now, I'm not religious, obviously, but my friends and family who are do not practice this type of faith. My question to my fellow intellectuals is this: what is meant by separation of church and state? Should there be such a separation? And is the church itself, by its very nature, a state? The purpose, to me, of separation was originally intended to safeguard religion from persecution. Using the United States' 13 colonies as an example, many states had their own religion, which was supported by local taxes and put numerous restrictions on those practicing other faiths. And also, let us remember that it was the religious community, specifically the evangelicals, who initiated and wanted this, And now in modern times, we see the same group fighting to end it. Why? Well, in my opinion, faith has been perverted by politics and government, and people like Pat Robertson have turned God into a business and a political machine. When government is controlled by religion, it becomes a theocracy, and when religion is controlled by government, it becomes fascism. Separation of church and state exists and needs to be practiced. There is no more obvious form of oppression than when a religious organization becomes political. Just look at the anti-black, anti-Jew, and anti-gay movements, as well as most modern wars as evidence. God may rule the heavens, but humankind must govern the earth. This is kailabreece. What do you know?